Hey everyone, just come out to check the shop's okay, and I thought I'd give 15 minutes of top up and a coffee. Some people have asked me if I could just do another upload telling people what I'm looking for, etc. Bit of a demonstration ride, so I think I will do that now. I'm allowed to stop charging is stopped. So let me try and unplug. No, it won't do because it's locked in, so I have to turn my ignition on and then it should unlock it. There we go, heard the click. It's being a bit impatient there. Not sure how much that cost me. It was probably something like 40 pence, and that's given me an extra 35-40 miles. So why don't you come along with me? I've got my new camera on the chin piece, and I'm still using my drift as the microphone, because I really don't necessarily want to lug around a suitcase, which is what the GoPro looks like once I've plugged in an external microphone. Alright, I'm probably exaggerating, but feel free to correct me. First thing is just to be very careful when you're in these car parks, because people come from all kinds of directions. It's like when you're in petrol stations. You also need to be careful of things like diesel spillages, pedestrians. Right then, while I'm waiting, I've got not a lot to do, so I'm checking my mirrors. The car isn't too close to me, otherwise I'd be flashing my brake lights a couple of times. And I've just flashed my brake light on and off to let them know the difference between off and on. Looking ahead on the bend, there's some quite deep potholes and a manhole cover. Make sure the cars have stopped at the traffic lights before the change, and I'm checking for bicycles. Pick my route, about there will be nice. Up to 40 miles an hour, nice and positive. I'm thinking ahead now. The traffic lights are changing to red. I'm going to move away into lane 3. I did a good check to make sure it was clear. Now watch him come across on me. I'll wave him across, I'm okay with that. Shouldn't really give directions to people because they could probably moan at you if something happens. Looking at the mirrors before I slow down. The reason we do a lot of mirror checks is not for what's behind us, it's for what's close behind us. The biggest danger, of course, is if you brake late and they're too close to you, you're going to get rear-ended. So using your mirrors and planning ahead a lot more reduces the chance of you getting rear-ended. I'm still looking in my mirrors. I've got a little bit of room between me and the car in front. There's a car coming up behind me. He's turning, no, he's in our lane. So now I'm just going to flash my brake lights a couple of times, and it looks like he is slowing down. It's going to be very difficult, if not almost impossible, if you think somebody's going to hit you. When people talk about the escape route, you've probably seen it on one of my other uploads. It's highly unlikely if somebody's going to ram into the back of you that you're going to be able to recognise that that's going to happen and then gun it around the corner and through the cars. Checking my mirrors before I go. My brake light's on at the moment. Now it's off, just so the car doesn't over anticipate me moving away sooner than I actually am. Checking both sides to make sure nobody's going to come through on red, which is unlikely because of all the cars that are at the side of me. Looking at the road surface, it's pretty good. I'm in position 2 at the moment. If some people prefer to be in position 3 when they overtake vehicles like this, there's no harm in it. He's braking for some reason, unless he's looking at changing lanes and he suddenly saw me in his mirror. Back into position 2, lights are changing to green. Checking my mirrors. By the time I get there, they may be changing back to red. Watching for vehicles changing lanes in front of me, and I'm making sure that I'm not sat next to any other vehicles. Bad road surface. Bad dog. Checking my mirrors again. Now I can go over to position 2. One of the problems or dangers of being in position 2 when you're quite close to a car like this is if there's a log or a brick in the middle of the road, the car isn't going to swerve to avoid it because it's already avoiding it, and there's more likelihood of us hitting the log or the brick. Okay, I'm going to move into lane 1 because at the traffic lights I'm going to turn left. I didn't bother indicating them because I was doing the same speed as the car, and he didn't really need to benefit from my indicator. Just checking the car on the right doesn't move in. I'm going to turn left on this slip road, so I'm checking mirrors first, indicating. decelerating by use of the throttle, don't need the brakes. Looking at the road surface here, the van's indicating past the parked vehicle. Make sure my indicators are off, clearance from the parked cars. Now we're coming to an industrial area and there's a commercial van, so he may be looking for a turning. Manhole covers in a straight line, not too sunken, so I don't mind going over them in a straight line. Looking ahead, there's a left then a right bend, so checking my mirrors, the car indicating behind me. I'm going to go over into, stay in position 2 actually, there's no need to be in any extreme positions because I'm only doing 14 miles an hour. He's going to be slow getting up this hill. There's a lorry on the inside, I can see him coming past now. Just keep your distance. If you can keep your distance from a vehicle like this, you also get a better view. One of the dangers of keeping a distance though is that the vehicle behind might start crowding you thinking you're dawdling. He won't understand why you're keeping your distance. Traffic lights are green, unlikely to change to red because there's nobody there, they're pedestrian controlled. And he's still going slowly, but it is a 20 limit here. I'm just surprised that a commercial vehicle is doing 20 in a 20 limit. Okay, zebra crossing, checking the mirrors first, throttle, then brakes, then gears if you have gears. Mirrors again, you don't need shoulder checks, I'm not changing direction. Zebra crossing's clear. Coming up to a roundabout, signposted the motorway. Passing the parked vehicle with plenty of clearance. And we're going to take the left lane to go straight ahead. Start looking now for the vehicles coming from the right. He's indicating left, he's committed. So I'm okay now, I can just go. If that white van on the right there had been closer to the roundabout, I would have considered indicating left, just to let him know that I was definitely going not right. Mirrors, he's indicating left. Okay. I'm going to turn right at the traffic lights. There are 2 options here on lanes. I'm going to take the fastest option, which will be the right lane here. Indicating wise, I don't need to indicate here. It is a right turn only and there's nobody that's going to benefit from me indicating. I'm going to put myself in the view of the car on the left though, because he may have cut his lane across, but now he's seen me, it's less likely he's going to do it. Make sure the car's accelerating away, there's an opening gap, and then I can accelerate away. Lanes are closing in here. I know there's no one behind me because I checked my mirrors before. Speed at 30 miles an hour. Looking around the bend for anything that is yet unseen, like traffic lights, which are on red. Mirrors, no one behind me, so I'm all good. I'm using the regen braking on this bike, which is very good. It's not on the maximum regen setting, because that really is like putting your brakes on. And you have to be careful when you're doing that, because any following vehicles won't know that you're braking, because you don't have brake lights on regen on motorbikes. I've heard it's law on cars. Okay, that BMW is a little bit close to me, but I'm doing the speed limit. Why is he braking? Because he saw the speed cameras. He thinks they're instant. They're not, they're average speed cameras. So I'm going to go straight ahead at this roundabout. He's in the BMW, who's going to be overtaking me. Checking to the right, early plan, yep, I'm all good. So I can just enter in this lane. Mirrors are still good. Staying in this lane. I was just about to say he's going to come across on me then, but I anticipated it, so it's not a problem. We're in a 50 limit now. I'm going to overtake the van with a bit of clearance. One of the potential problems of an electric bike is that he had his windows down, he wouldn't necessarily have heard me. So I just have to allow for that a little bit more. So I'm doing 44 in the 50, the Jag's moving in, so I'm going to go up to 50 now. Position 3 when I'm clearing him, just to give him a little bit more clearance. Little check. And I don't necessarily move in until I see him in the mirror. There. Now I can move in. Sometimes I indicate, sometimes I don't. I have known vehicles I've overtaken though to actually accelerate whilst I'm overtaking them, which is not much fun. Okay, let's go. I'm going to change my direction now. I'm going to take the B600. which is a back way to my house. Watch him indicating. Just keep my eye on him. They're supposed to be hazards, I think. He's towing that van. Okay, slow Fiestas. I know I might be stereotyping a little bit here, but usually those Fiestas are driven by older people. Just make sure I'm not sat in the blind spot of this car. And now people that may have got the sat-navs wrong will be suddenly changing lanes on us, so I am being aware. And here's our exit. No need to indicate, the lane's quite clearly taking us around this way. Arrows telling us the lanes are closing into one. Checking my mirrors. If you wanted to do a little shoulder check just to make sure whilst you've been focusing that a car hasn't accelerated into your blind spot, that's fine. Speed at 29, it's a 30 limit. Let's see how accurate my speedo is. I'm reading bang on 29. Let's see what 28 now. Let's see what it tells me I'm doing. 29. No, that's way out, that is. My speedo isn't that inaccurate. Checking my mirrors, there's nobody behind me. Staying in the centre of my lane. Nice safe following distance from the car in front. Going under a bridge. I do remember in winter when it's very, very cold and icy, bridges are shaded areas and they do tend to remain icy. Ask me if I know about black ice. Checking my mirrors, van in front turning off right. These white lines, when people say how slippery they aren't as slippery as you think they are. I think years ago in '88 I went to France and I think the black lines on zebra crossings were lethal, because they were plastic. Just using my mirrors, nobody's accelerating at the moment, so let the cars open the gap up in front of me. Debris in position 2, so I'm going to move to position 3, and the reason for this is obviously the debris, but also the fact that we have these chevrons in the middle of the road separating the two directions of traffic. So I'm not really putting myself in danger by being in P3. It also helps me get a good view around the vehicle in front. There's a vehicle catching up with me from behind, but I can't do anything about that. I'm a safe distance from the red Fiesta. But he's not catching up too much now. He's eased his speed off, which is good. Slightly sunken manhole cover there. Not the end of the world if you went down it. White car on the right hand side with pedestrians coming towards it. They're blocking his view at the moment. Now we may start moving, so check his wheels. Remember one of my quick tips? His wheels are absolutely stationary. Side roads are good. Oncoming vehicle over the chevrons, so I'm going to come into position 2 in case a lorry's coming round. I saw a reflection of the bus in that grey parked car then. I saw his headlights reflecting in the door. Oncoming, he's on the right turn lane. He may be moving in but may not, but either way it's not a problem because I'm here, I'm safe. Reflections in the parked cars showing an oncoming vehicle again. And I'm now, if you look at the road surface, you can see that where I am it's matte. It dried out just there, so it was grippier. Now you can see the matte road surface is where the tyre tracks are. So I'm going to come over to position 3, which also keeps me away from the parked vehicles. Checking my mirrors again, there's still that white vehicle behind, but no danger. Over to 2 because of the oncoming vehicle having to pass the parked ones. Again, same thing's happening, so stay in 1 here. Mirror, don't need my shoulder check here. Watch him, I've got to give way to him, but I'll make sure the car behind is stopping. Wouldn't be a lot I could do now actually. Zebra crossing being cleared in a second. Okay, that car didn't follow me, which is good. Oncoming pedestrians, car turning left, car coming across on me. There's a post office van with its hazards on. Checking my mirrors. Underneath the wheels of the van, I can't see any legs. I've just seen somebody get in the van though. So I'm just going to get past here. Back in we go, up to 30. I'm going to stay in position 2 here, which is halfway between the pedestrians and the oncoming, but I can still see some debris in 2. Going to 3 wouldn't be wise at the moment, so I'm going to move into 1 to avoid the debris. The bend isn't severe enough that I need a really good view around it, but also you can see what looks like mud in the middle of the road. Position 2 seems to have cleared up a little bit from the debris now, so, but it's also got grease in it, so I am still going to move into 1 over the manhole cover. 28 real speed, 31 on the clock. So we've got parked cars ahead, nothing oncoming. Checking my mirror. If you're not sure, why not do a shoulder check? There's no harm in it. All you're doing is checking down into the blind spot. You don't have to look all the way behind. Equalising the danger between the parked and the oncoming now. Bringing my speed back up a little bit, lifting my head and looking around the corner. There's a van pulling out. Sometimes they don't bother accelerating too much. There's a vehicle, looks like he's stuck in the junction. He might swing out for his left turn. Yep, they're doing the lorry driver left turn where they come out 3 feet before they turn left. Looking over the brow, there's a vehicle on the left with his reversing lights on, so he's no danger. Staying in position 2, checking mirrors are all good. Parked vehicle with his hazards on, the car coming to the junction. I just saw him over the wall. He came up quite quickly, but he's given way, that's not a problem. Sometimes if you don't think they've seen you, don't be afraid of sounding your horn, just to let them know that you're there. Okay, another car coming to the junction there, and again, wheels stop. Good. Turning right at the roundabout, so I'm checking my mirrors, indicating throttle closed, brakes, and then I'll be changing gears now if I had a geared bike. Keeping it tight, looking at the road surface, making sure vehicles are giving way to me, keeping a steady throttle, indicating at the exit before the one I want, and a little lifesaver there. And part of the reason for that is I was focusing on the vehicle at the exit before the one I wanted. What if the vehicle that was giving way to me had gunned it onto the roundabout and then tried to undertake me? If you're not sure what's in your blind spot, have a check. So I'm going to do a little bit of filtering here. This cycle lane has got broken lines, which means it's an advisory cycle lane, so I can go into it, but I can't go beyond this advanced stop line just here. That would actually be illegal, or the equivalent to going through a red traffic light. The only time you're allowed in that advanced stop box is if you can't safely stop when the traffic lights change back to red, or you split up in a line of traffic. Then you're allowed in it. I'm going to out-accelerate this car up to 30 nice and positive in a second. Checking my mirrors, he's going to try and out-accelerate me. Toyota Yaris has got no chance. Okay, well I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to like, comment and subscribe, and share this. And I will speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.